Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Dead Pixels. This is a game that has very recently come out on Steam, but actually has a little bit more of a storied history. It's kind of an interesting take, or an interesting story, the way things kind of came to be for this video. So I emailed the developer. This has been on Xbox Live Indie Games for a while, but it just came out on Steam, and I emailed the developer as I do with all developers of games that come out on Steam, and I requested a review copy, basically, and he got back to me within the day and was like, hey, I'm actually familiar with your channel. You did Don't Play This video on one of my earlier games that was on Xbox Live Indie Games called Super Tank Run, and he had a good sense of humor about it. If you're not familiar, Mike and I used to do videos basically where we made fun of Xbox Live Indie Games, kind of similar to the same thing I'm doing right now. But that game was basically garbage. I hate to say it, like I really disliked it, but it was $1, so there is that. But this game has actually gotten a lot of good press on Xbox Live Indie Games, so I was excited to check out the Steam version. We're actually going to do that right now. Now, I have been using my gamepad for this. Weirdly enough, I think I just used my keyboard, and that caused it to default to the keyboard, and for some reason, I can now not use my gamepad, but that's okay. It's not like the controls absolutely require a gamepad, so I guess I will just continue to use my PC for this. I actually don't know the controls for the PC, but we should be able to figure that out very quickly. So this is a side-scrolling beat-em-up or shoot-em-up. It's kind of like, imagine River City Ransom with guns, essentially, and zombies, and it kind of has a Left 4 Dead style aesthetic too, but one thing I really like is that it has this kind of like grindhouse style aesthetic. You can tell just by the sound effects, but also by some of the intros that you're going to see. It's got like a really cool, gritty 80s horror movie or action movie aesthetic to it. We're going to start just with Dead Pixels here. There is local co-op, but I'm going to be playing predominantly or only single player here, and we're going to stick on normal mode. So you can probably get the River City Ransom aesthetic. I always get confused. I keep trying to say River City Rampage or Retro City Ransom. There's been a toxic waste spill into the chemical plant that finds its way into the water supply. 3 days later, the recently deceased rise from their graves. Those that they kill also return from the dead. Within the week, only 5% of the people can be considered alive. The army was sent in to clean up the city, but were forced to fall back. The city was put under quarantine until a solution could be found. And a group of survivors on the other side of the city have a way out. It's time to leave the city. Alright, so we're going to have to fight our way through the horde here. Again, you can tell just by like the film grain what kind of aesthetic this game is going for, and it's something that I think actually works out fairly well. I should point out before we get too far into this game, by the way, that it is only $3 on Steam, so it's pretty gosh darn cheap. So, we can use WASD here, and they're actually going to give us a tutorial as well when we first get started. To fire left, move the cursor to the left and use left click. Okay, so we are going to use kind of like twin stick shooter style here, that's fine. Let me just see how to use grenades. It looks like it's just right click, that's fine by me. And for spacebar is melee. Okay, that's good, because we're going to be using melee a lot, because this game, you know, in the standard beat 'em up, I'm just going to skip through the tutorials here. We should probably go in here and get all this free stuff. We'll take this lighter for sure. We'll take the bolt action rifle as well. We do have a weight system in this game, so we can't simply take whatever we want, but we can also sell things that we get. So what did I just get? I picked up a lighter and a bolt action rifle. I don't actually want to sell anything right now. We might want to buy some ammo, but we have no money. So what we're actually just going to do is go inside all of these places and see if we can take some stuff that we can sell. So maybe we'll take the eagle, take the lighter, we'll take the ammunition, we'll leave here, go back here. I promise you, in a moment, we will see some enemies, and then I'm going to sell the second lighter that we picked up, which should give us $54 here. Beautiful. So every time you kill a zombie, you'll get money. We'll see that in just a second here. So as we move forward, we will probably come across our first zombie. There we go. And actually, it's a horde here. What I'm going to be trying to do is kill most of these zombies through melee, but I'm actually going to shoot some there because we have kind of a horde surrounding us now. And this will allow us to save some ammunition, because ammunition is kind of a sore spot in this game. Like right now, I have 35 ammo. That's actually not that much. What I kind of like about this game is that it's not just your standard, and I have nothing against Scott Pilgrim, of course, the game or the property, as I do this. I'm taking a surprising amount of damage. But what I like about this compared to a game like, say, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World that came out last year or 2 years ago, is that there actually is two things. There's one, resource management, because we are using weapons here, as well as managing our health, so we have to kind of do some inventory management, which is good, and we can't just blast everything like in Contra. Not to say that this is a better game than in Contra, because it's not, but I like that you have to be a little bit more, shall we say, conservative, or even thoughtful in your approach to dealing with enemies. Like when you have a horde, you're mostly going to want to use ammunition, but if you can avoid it, it's oftentimes better to just use melee, provided that it doesn't result in you taking a ton of damage from the zombies themselves. And I should be able to kill this guy. It's same with Zombie U, I guess. Like one zombie, with melee is not a big problem, but after that, you're probably, you know, if you get 2 or 3 zombies, you might want to start using your actual ammunition. I'm going to sell, we got another lighter here, so we only need 1 of those. I have no idea, by the way, if we can actually use this gas lighter for anything else. So I'm just keeping 1 just in case, and we can actually sell 1 of these rifles. It's going to sell for 84, and we do have some good stuff here. I'm going to buy some ammunition. We can also buy upgrades for our character, so there is kind of an RPG element, at least in this first stage. We could, like, upgrade our weapon skill, which is probably the first thing I'll do, or upgrade our melee skill to do more damage, upgrade our speed, or health, or strength, bargaining, which lowers the cost that we get from the store and raises the cost that we sell things for, and luck, which I actually don't know. Increases the chance of good things happening when you need them the most. For now, we're just going to buy some ammo. I've been primarily using our shotgun, so why not buy 2 boxes of shotgun shells here. Oh no, I bought some more pistol bullets. That's okay, we can use our pistol as well. It's a very useful item. The shotgun's good, of course, because it does spread damage. Oh, I threw a grenade by accident. I thought that would have been melee. I will say, spacebar melee is a little bit hard to get used to. On the controller, it's just B, which it works better, I think. But that's okay. I mean, obviously, like I said, the controls are very simplistic, so everything is going to work out totally fine, whether you're using a keyboard or an Xbox 360 controller. Although, given that the game originally came out on Xbox Live Indie Games, I would prefer to use a controller. I am taking an ungodly amount of damage right now. Just trying to save some shells. You never know when those could come in handy. Another few should get that. We do have medkits, by the way. And basically the premise of this game, I should really use one of those medkits. What is our menu on the PC? I'm not totally sure. E, maybe? E, switch to hand grenade. Q, small medkit. Yes, now use it. Z, X, control, middle click. Yeah, middle click. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I'm just going to shoot this guy. Take him down like so. We're going to check out in this room. And the other thing I like, not just the resource management and the inventory management, but is the fact that there's all these buildings that we can actually loot. It seems like just an aesthetic situation or an aesthetic decision to have it be about zombies as opposed to, you know, like teenagers who are trying to beat you up or Ninja Turtle enemies or anything like that. But actually this game does a good job of adhering to that kind of zombie loot, pillage, and then save as much as you can mechanic. It works pretty well, and it differentiates itself well enough from other beat-em-ups like this that I feel like it's pretty interesting. We're just going to exit here. Let's see what this guy wants. I'm looking for a heavy minigun. I'd be willing to pay $4,550. We're probably not going to find a heavy minigun at any point in the near future, but that's okay. Basically, if you can bring those guys exactly what they want, they will give you a ton of money. Let's search this house and see what we've got here. We've got some water. We've got some extra bullets that we'll take, and we're not quite at our encumbrance limit yet, which is good for us. Again, anytime we can use melee to save some ammunition is worthwhile, because the ammunition does go pretty fast. I've had situations where I've had over 100 shotgun shells, and if I actually change my gun somehow... Yes, okay, you can see that we do have other guns that maybe do a little bit more damage, and also carry their own ammo supplies, but, you know, I don't have a whole lot of ammo spread across all platforms here. So we are just going to move on here. The way that Dead Pixels basically works, the first campaign, not the game itself, is that we are trying to get to like a helipad, I think, at the end of the city. We're trying to find some way to escape the city, in any case. And this is different than the way that some of the other campaigns work. And actually, I'll show off that right away, because I played a little bit of this first. You can see there's like 19 streets left until we get to Salvation. I played a little bit. By the way, this looks exactly like Super Tank Run right here, but we're going to exit out and check out a new game in The Solution. Or was it? I think it was The Solution that I went to that I enjoyed a lot. And this has kind of a different mechanic. So this way we kind of play in almost like a Dirty Dozen style or Escape from New York style. So we're at the maximum security correctional facility. We have chosen you for a mission of the utmost importance. We're sending you to New Hexington, New York. Mid-July, an incident at a chemical plant reanimated the recently deceased. The army were sent in but had to be pulled out. Since then, we have been looking for a solution to this problem. We think you might be that solution. At 9 o'clock, you'll be dropped at the city's airport. From there, you will head west to the city's power plant. In the plant, you will activate its triggering system, then escape the city. If you're in need of supplies or reinforcements, contact me via radio. You can also search houses for supplies and weapons, and they'll give me a presidential pardon if I succeed. Now, what I like about this one is that we actually have the opportunity to choose which character we want, and there are some references to zombie culture here. I don't know what S. Perry is, and I apologize for that if he's watching this, but obviously this is supposed to be Max Brooks. That's Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead. I don't know who any of these other guys are, but I think that's kind of cool. We're going to play as Robert Kirkman in honor of the, The Walking Dead winning game of the year at VGA's last night. And you can see that each character has their own unique abilities. So Kirkman has great gun skill, but very low health, but pretty good melee damage as well. Max Brooks has good gun skill, he seems pretty well all around. Good strength, which increases his carrying limit. Decent bargaining and stuff like that. But there's other characters that are a little bit more tanky or maybe a little bit more lucky. We're just going to go with Robert Kirkman because I want the ability to do as much damage as possible. I'm going to skip over all this. Basically, what she is saying is that on this mission, I wonder if there's anything in the airport for us. No. On this mission, there's going to be nobody to barter with. There's still like places where we can go to kind of loot houses, but there's no place to go to sell it. So what we actually have to do is communicate with the lady in question. Wow, he does 25 damage per melee hit. I like how you just poke him with the shotgun. Who needs a sword? Just poke him with the butt of our gun. Assume there's a bayonet on the end of that or something. And we'll shoot here. That actually does a decent amount of damage in its own right as well. And yeah, so basically this one is a little bit different because you're not actually upgrading your character. You're starting with a character who is upgraded in their own unique way. But you have to progress through kind of a more difficult, at least it seems more difficult at first glance, outlook for the game, which is really interesting that it's not just like aesthetically different campaigns, like they're actually campaigns that may require a different strategy, although to be honest with you, in my hour or so with the game, I've not spent enough time with it to totally verify that that's 100% for sure. We're going to take the extra guns, taking the grenades, of course, those will come in handy when we come across a horde. We'll take the extra bullets, because even though we're using predominantly melee right now, you never know when that's going to change. So these are the most annoying enemies I've encountered so far. They are spitters, who try to hit us with their vomit. Standard zombie trope, of course. But for now, we are doing quite well. And I think now we'll just try to see how far we can get. And I'll talk about my overall impressions of Dead Pixels once we get closer to the end of the game. So I'm trying not to take too much here, because we're only supposed to take what we need. Because again, there's no incentive to take like extra copies of guns or anything like that, because we can't sell them at any point. So we're just going to take as much ammunition as we can carry. But apart from that, we can also get critical hits, as you can see. Apart from that, wow, lots of critical hits. I don't know what I've done to deserve that, but I appreciate it nonetheless. And our health is going reasonably well. Although we do still have 10 floors, or 10 waves to get to. And the waves, of course, get increasingly difficult as you move along. I'm trying to save my ammo for these spitters, because they are the most annoying for sure. You can dodge their shots if you're better at the game than I am. Again, more ammunition, which is great for us. And the game has a good mix. These, like, more lively-looking zombies tend to have more HP than their more deceased-looking counterparts, is the way that I have experienced things so far. So let's try to kill that guy. Beautiful. Let's see what we've got in this house. I mean, yeah, this game has a good mix of, like, action as well as... I wouldn't necessarily say strategy, but there are strategical elements in this game beyond a standard beat-em-up, or at least my experiences with standard beat-em-ups. We are going to just continue onwards here. And you can see we're 9 streets away from our target. I've never actually gone to the target, so I have no idea what happens. Who knows? Maybe we'll see it in this video. Although, within the context of a Let's Look At, I feel like I'm probably going to stop before we get there. This game gets fairly difficult as we get into harder and harder waves. For now, it's fairly easy. We'll see bigger hordes as we move along. These guys tend to have more HP as well. And like I said, I can actually buy ammunition and weapons from the lady who gave me this mission. I'm skipping a bunch of houses here, which I should probably not do. Yeah, small medkit could actually end up being very important for us. Obviously, we already have a chambered shotgun. But yeah, we can buy weapons and other supplies from that lady who sent us on this mission. But so far, I haven't needed to do that, which is good. Because on the PC, I have no idea what the main menu control is. Probably should have watched the tutorial on that first stage a little bit longer. But again, when I was playing it through on the 360 controller, it's all very intuitive. This is just my own personal failing that's causing this issue here. We're going to keep moving on here. Inside of this garage, we're going to find a box of 12 shells. At some point, that'll probably come in handy. By the way, when you buy things from her, they aren't just dropped in instantly. And they do cost money, which seems hardly fair. Like, I'm solving the zombie apocalypse, and you're still going to make me pay for everything? Incendiary grenade is very useful. But you actually have to, like, beat the stage that you're on. So it does require a little bit of foresight. Because you can't simply... We're only at 41 out of 100 load here, which is really good. Yeah, so you have to have a little bit of foresight. You can't just be like, oh, I'm out of ammo, I'll get ammo now. You have to think about it, like, at least a room in advance. I almost said a floor in advance, which, you know, doesn't really make any sense outside of the context of Isaac. That was a lucky crit there. Ooh, that was kind of a rough situation. We're okay, though. We're taking a little bit of damage. There's hordes behind and in front of us. Sounds like a good time to use a grenade. That's going to get a nice kill combo for us. And the more our kill combo grows, the better we are going to perform on the leaderboards in the game, which we will see once we actually get through a little bit more of the game, I suppose. And I think a lot of people actually own this game already because it was in an Indie Royale bundle. And I believe if you got this game in the Indie Royale bundle, you qualify to get a free Steam code for the game. So definitely look into that. I think I saw the developer tweet that like they were just waiting on Valve to give them the Steam codes for the game. I should definitely take a med pack at this point. So, oh, I guess that's how you use the menu, is middle click. Do I need to buy anything from her? We'll see. I could maybe use a large med kit. So let's buy that for 105. I'm doing pretty well on money here. You can see there's no option for me to actually upgrade, but I can get some more ammo. So let's just buy a ton of shells. Shells have been going pretty well for us so far. There we go. We'll buy like 10 boxes or 11 boxes of 12 shells. We'll confirm our order. Beautiful. And we will get that on the next mission. Oh, I forgot about the rats. Or not next mission, but next area. So we're just going to use our grenade there. These guys are quick moving, but also very, very weak, and we are going to get a ton of money as a result of that. Kill these guys with melee if possible. It was a Q, E, Z, X. No, okay, one second. Chamber shotgun is what we want. Although we do have good ammo for the bolt action. But I thought we could just use middle click. That's fireworks! I don't know what I've done. How did I use that medkit the first time? I totally forgot. Well, luckily, maybe we won't need it in a second. It could just be escape, I guess. We're going to take another box of 12 shells here. Let's exit out. And what could I possibly use? Escape does not work. Can I just see the controls in here? That would save me some problems. Of course it does not. As you can see, the bolt action does substantially more damage. And since we have more ammo for this, it's going to be more viable, I guess. Although possibly not any better strategically for us to actually use the gun more often. As is right now, we're doing a pretty good job of maintaining our resources. This is definitely one of the best runs I've had so far. These guys will die pretty quickly in melee. Those are like our standard horde-type enemies. This is going to be our drop. So we should have, yeah, crazy ammo with the shotgun now. And again, the more alive a zombie looks, the more damage they tend to be able to take. So we'll just continue moving onwards here. We got Andy's gun. By the way, look to the storefronts in the background for a number of references to zombie culture. Many of which I don't understand, because, you know, when it comes to zombies, I'm not an expert. I'm familiar with a lot of zombie properties, but I'm not a die-hard zombie fan, as many people seem to be, for whatever reason. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, as a video game trope, zombies are super played out. We're gonna take all this as well. But it works in the context of this game. This is a surprisingly good game. As soon as I saw the developer's email, like, response to me, it was like, oh no, I've previously done, like, a don't play this. I was thinking, not oh no because I'm embarrassed that I maybe insulted this guy's work earlier, but oh no, maybe this guy's work bears insulting. But Dead Pixels is actually surprisingly good. I think it's a good game, and I think it's available for a good price. The only thing, of course, that's missing, as everyone is going to point out, is the fact that there's no online multiplayer, and that is disappointing, but, you know, the fact that it has local multiplayer is cool in its own right. Online multiplayer maybe would have made this more of a, maybe not on par with Castle Crashers, but a more Castle Crashers type experience, which definitely would have added substantial amounts to the value of the game. It makes for a better value proposition when you can be like, hey, buddies, come pick this up, so we can have a lot more fun together than I would have solo. But solo, it's enough fun in its own right. It's not a game that's gonna probably, you know, result in you investing 500 hours in it, but it seems like a decent time waster, especially considering it's the price for, like, a large coffee at $3. That might just be the opening week sale. Maybe it's gonna go up to $5 eventually. But either way, still a pretty easy decision to make if you are into games like this. If you're into, like, side-scrolling beat-em-ups, this might be a breath of fresh air for you. Again, I have all this equipment. If only I could figure out how the heck... Okay, so we got the bolt action. That's fine. I can... Middle mouse button does nothing for me. Small medkit, use? Beautiful. Okay, we're just going to use a bunch of small medkits here and then move on to the next level. We're only 7 streets away from the target. Like I said, we're probably not going to actually finish this video, but we'll proceed as long as I feel like is necessary in order to show you the progression and difficulty. So far, it hasn't been too bad. Remember, we are only on, like, the 3rd street, basically, of 10. Dead Pixels, not the game, the actual, like, first campaign mission, has, how many? It has 20 streets. So that might be longer, or maybe these are longer floors. Again, not 100% sure of that. But it's nice to see these are the first military units I've ever encountered. This does not strike me as a good position to be in. It's nice to see good Xbox Live indie games appearing on Steam. Not that there have been bad ones that have appeared on Steam in the past. Like, generally speaking, the cream of the crop usually make it onto Steam. Like, you know, Gateways, Blocks That Matter, good stuff like that. That being said, it's always nice just to see examples of good Xbox Live indie games, because oftentimes they are, you know, Avatar butt fucking, zombie cow milking, stuff like that. Avatar butt fucking, as far as I know, is not a real title. Zombie cow milking actually is, if you're unfamiliar with the video that Mike and I did for that ages ago. We got another small med kit here, which is good because I just used one recently. I mean, the gameplay is fairly mindless. I know I've complimented it as thoughtful, but it's only thoughtful within the context of the genre, where most beat-em-ups don't require too much strategy. Skill, maybe. Strategy, usually not so much. But mindlessness in a game this size is not necessarily a terrible thing. I mean, we're dealing with quite a small game here, and I feel like it works well enough on its own right that it being fairly simplistic is not something that necessarily needs to be held against it. This is just something you can pick up and play, and yes, like all beat-em-ups, it suffers from a number of common problems. It's repetitive. I assume that the difficulty is simply going to become a product of harder enemies and more of them appearing at once, which is fine. I mean, that's a pretty standard way to amp up difficulty in a game like this. I've never seen this blue-eyed man either, but apparently he did not take too much to knock down. Now, I should stop using so much ammunition in all likelihood. I've kind of been mindlessly shooting these guys, but that's okay. But yeah, overall, Dead Pixels is, I'll probably stop the video after this floor, which is why I'm kind of wrapping up or after this street, which is why I'm kind of wrapping it up here. Dead Pixels seems like an interesting sort of game. There are kind of like aesthetic changes or graphical changes or setting changes in the levels, like we're going into a tunnel here. I've previously gone into a mall earlier, but by and large, that stuff doesn't matter all that much. We're just going to exit out here. Let's talk about what you get when you buy this game. So you get access to these 3 campaigns. You also get unlockables. Hyper combat mode. I assume there's going to be a big head mode or something in here. I don't know how you unlock these. I assume by getting certain progress markers in the game or maybe certain achievements. But, I mean, you don't get a whole lot. What you see is what you get. What you saw in this video, plus, of course, some local multiplayer or local co-op access. You know what? For $3, I think this game is absolutely worth it. It's not going to change the world, but it is a fairly fun beat-em-up. I just wish, if this had online multiplayer, I mean, it would probably cost $10 instead of $3, but it would also probably be a lot more worthwhile for spending my time with. But as is, certainly not a waste of money and not a waste of time either. Just kind of some mindless action here, and certainly a lot better than Super Tank Run. So I wish the developer well in his venture on Steam. But in any case, thank you guys for watching. Dead Pixels is now available on Steam for $3, and I will see you next time.